You are welcome, and we are back on the channel. Today we are discussing the most well-known watch brand on Earth, Rolex. There is no horological brand that attracts as much desire, reverence, and cultural significance as Rolex. It is the brand that made what a luxury sports watch might be, that has created movements so reliable and precise that they are the world standard that every other watchmaker is measured against, and made individual models so iconic that they have become staples of popular culture. The Submariner, the Daytona, the GMT Master, not merely watch references, they are also cultural landmarks known to those people who have never considered horology in a second thought in their lives. Now we are giving a 5-day countdown to 5 of the best watches in the current Rolex line, watches that describe the entire range that this remarkable Geneva factory can achieve. Combining aviation heritage with deep-sea discovery, classic beauty with globe-hopping practicality, this list includes the best of the crown. Let's get into it. Number 5. Rolex Air King. The Rolex Air King holds a singular and curious place in the existing Rolex lineup. It is the entry point in price, but it has one of the most illustrious and most emotionally evocative histories of any reference Rolex could make. It is no chance watch that has come along. It is a watch that has been able to win a spot in the collection by decades of real meaning. The background of the Air King can be traced back to the Second World War when Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, designed a collection of watches in tribute to the leaders of the Royal Air Force men whose prowess and daring in the skies of Britain made the difference between history and history. The model that remained of that wartime tribute was the Air King, which was to carry on the spirit of aviation into the peacetime world and beyond. The contemporary model, the caliber 3230 with a power reserve of 70 hours, with the Rolex Chronergy escapement, is a bold and unique model that is not afraid to show its loud personality. The huge Arabic numbers at 3, 6, and 9 in a yellow and white mix instantly remind me of the old-fashioned aviation instruments panels, and the green Rolex brand and the green second hand are a burst of color that really makes the dial jump to life and take up space. The oyster case in oyster steel, Rolex proprietary 904L stainless steel alloy, much more resistant to corrosion than the 316L of most competitors, is finished as per the unprecedented Rolex standards of surface preparation, with brushed and polished surfaces that are interesting to explore under close examination. With a high level of precision and comfort, the EasyLink extension system makes the Oyster bracelet the industry standard in terms of wearing. The Air King offers all the Rolex quality, all the Rolex heritage, and a more distinctive and boldly individual design character than all but the most distinctive of the brand currently makes. It is Rolex which is surprising people, and that is one of the main elements of its significant appeal. The Rolex Air King retails for approximately $7,550 USD. Number 4. Rolex Datejust 36. The Rolex Datejust 36 is the wristwatch that created the modern Swiss luxury industry as we know it today, and 70 years after its introduction, it is the only watch in the market that is both the most recognizable and the most universally suitable luxury wristwatch. To know the Datejust is to know what Rolex is, was, and will be. In 1945, when Rolex created the Datejust, commemorating the 40th anniversary of the brand, it made 2 historic firsts at once. The first self-winding wristwatch to show the date in a big window on the face, and the first watch to display above the date the now famous Cyclops lens, which has since become the iconic face of the Datejust. Over the next 80 years, the Datejust has adorned the wrists of world leaders, Nobel winners, Hollywood stars, and heads of state, not because it was provided to them as a symbol of status, but just because it is the best all-purpose luxury watch ever created. The contemporary Datejust 36 runs on the Rolex caliber 3235, the movement of unmatched finesse with the Chronergy escapement, 70-hour power supply, and Superlab certified status, which ensures that its time varies by not more than 2 seconds per day, which is more than 3 times higher than the COSC certification requirements of a chronometer. The number of dial choices is astounding, with classic white, black, and silver to mother of pearl, meteorite, and diamond set references reaching into the realms of jewelry watches. Fluted or smooth bezel designs available in steel, yellow gold, white gold, or Everose gold are practically endless in their personalization. In either guise, the Datejust 36 conveys the same message with that same mute power it has always conveyed. Here is a man of taste, of accomplishment, and of permanence, good judgment. The Rolex Date Just 36 retails for approximately $7,250 USD in stainless steel. Number 3. Rolex Explorer II. The Rolex Explorer II is the least recognized watch in the complete Rolex lineup, a watch of superb potential, unique character, and true spirit of exploration that always go unnoticed by the average viewer and are adored with unwavering loyalty by those who recognize the quality of Rolex engineering and the engineering possibilities it offers. It is the time of the Explorer II to be duly celebrated. In 1971, the Explorer II was created to meet a very specialized and challenging task: to offer cavers, polar explorers, and researchers in places where the only way to tell time was to use a reliable, legible, and durable timekeeping tool that was capable of keeping time in 2 time zones at once. The iconic 24-hour hand was originally proposed by the reference that was bright orange or red arrow hand, the hand that turns 1 full rotation every 24 hours, which enables the watch wearer to differentiate between AM and PM as compared to the 24-hour graduated bezel. This feature has been central to the current Explorer II, which is currently accompanied by a fully adjustable GMT complication, making it one of the most useful and truly practical watches in any collection. The present model in white dial or black dial set is carried on a case of oyster steel of unusual refinement, larger and more bold than the usual Explorer, and with a presence upon the wrist which attracts and does not coerce. The Mercedes hand and wide luminous indices provide outstanding readability in low light, and the caliber 3285 movement inside provides the power reserve of 70 hours and all the current innovations of the Rolex movements. The Rolex buyer who is not so interested in convention or show, who cherishes substance rather than form, is the one who chooses the Explorer II, a watch that does as well as it looks. Retail price of Rolex Explorer II is about $10,100 US. Number 2. Rolex Submariner Date. The most influential watch of all time is Rolex Submariner Date. Not hyperbole, that is merely the best description of the impact the Submariner has had on the watch industry, the popular culture, and even the very idea of the luxury sports watch in the 7 decades since its release. All the watches of all the divers of all the brands of all the world are in the shadow of the Submariner, and most of them are aware of it. By making the Submariner in 1953 waterproof down to 100 meters and making it a real working tool of diving, Rolex did what no watchmaking company had ever accomplished: to make a working tool that was accurate enough to be used professionally, attractive enough to be worn daily, and rugged enough to be used and not broken. That is the main postulate that has never been altered in the 70 years since. What has evolved is the degree of engineering refinement applied to its attainment, and the Submariner Date, as it is now, symbolizes the result of all those teachings Rolex has acquired during those 7 glorious decades. The inside caliber 3235 offers a 70 hours of power reserve and superlative chronometer performance, movements controlled and certified in-house to standards that surpass the Swiss industry standard. The Carachrom ceramic bezel insert is virtually scratch-resistant, virtually UV-resistant, and keeps its color and finish decades of hard use. Oyster itself is waterproof to 300 meters, 3 times its original specification, and the glide lock clasp on the bracelet of the Oyster is micro-adjustable by 2mm steps directly against the wrist, making it equally easy to fit diving suits or just to experience the ups and downs of the wrist. This innovation in legibility, which has the maxi dial and its exaggerated luminous indices and hands, takes every past generation Submariner seem a bit darker than the other. Submariner Date is the watch that everyone knows, wants, and admires in green Kermit coloration or on two-tone Rolls or in the time-honored all-steel black combination that began it all. The Rolex Submariner Date costs about $10,550 USD in stainless steel. Number 1. Rolex GMT Master II. The Rolex GMT Master II occupies the unquestionably first position on the modern list, not merely because it is a technical genius, not merely because it is the watch that sports people most desire in the world today, not merely because it has one of the most enviable origin stories of all watch stories, but because it can be all of that and be all that in a package of such effortless integrity and elegance that it stands alone as the definitive statement of all that Rolex is and what Rolex can be. The tale begins with the early 1950s when Pan American World Airways, the most glamorous airline in the world, came to Rolex with a project: create them a watch that would allow their long-haul pilots to know the time both in the time zone where they were and the time at their home base, without the pilot becoming confused and lost in numbers and calculations. The outcome, which was launched in 1955, was the GMT Master, a watch which was so well designed in its purpose that the basic structure of its solution never had to be changed, but was only perfected. The oyster case and bracelet are completed to a level that can only be truly appreciated by touching it physically. The interplay between brushed and polished surfaces on the center links and outer links of the Jubilee bracelet, the geometry of each lug and each crown guard, how the ceramic bezel catches and holds the light when the angle varies. Each of the details is in its perfect state of being fine-tuned through generations of repetition until it is just perfect. The GMT Master II goes on the wrist with the carefree panache of a watch that has nothing to prove and knows it just as much at home in an international business conference, on an international flight, in a beach bar, or at a black-tie dinner. It can go as high as it wants, it can deal with any environment, and there is no quantity of scrutiny it cannot take. There is no better all-purpose luxury sports watch in the world than Rolex GMT Master II by the most complete measure available. The Rolex GMT Master II is currently priced around $10,700 USD in stainless steel, and with the industry demand, there is nothing like as hard as getting one at retail, which tells you all you need to know about owning one.